Every so often, the world witnesses something that seems impossible. A person walks away from an explosion, survives a fall from the sky, or escapes death by milliseconds. And we'd never believe it unless it was caught on tape. These are the moments where time freezes. The odds are 1,000,000 to 1, and yet, somehow they make it out alive. Today, we're counting down 10 mind-blowing survival stories, all caught on camera, that prove the human will to live is more powerful than fate itself. Stick around for number 1. It's the kind of survival story that doctors still can't explain. Number 10. The man who walked away from a plane crash. In 2021, a small single-engine plane crashed into a suburban neighborhood in California, smashing through trees, ripping across the road, and bursting into flames. Neighbors ran out with phones rolling, expecting the worst. But what happened next left everyone speechless. A man stumbled out of the wreckage, dazed, burned, but alive. He had just survived a plane crash in the middle of a residential street. Paramedics later said it was a miracle he walked away. But the camera didn't lie. He survived the impossible. Number 9. The train that missed him. By inches, CCTV footage from India shows a man walking along a narrow platform when he suddenly slips and falls onto the tracks. At the same moment, a train barrels into the station. What happens next looks like CGI. The man curls into a tiny space between the rails, and the entire train passes over him without a single wheel touching him. When it's gone, he slowly crawls out, alive, unharmed, and visibly shaken. That footage? It was played on every news channel across the world, because no one believed it at first. Number 8. The skydiver who collided mid-air. In 2014, 2 skydivers in Florida jumped from the same plane, seconds apart. As they fell, one of them crashed mid-air into the other's parachute. The collision ripped the canopy, causing both to spin out of control at over 120 miles per hour. The GoPro footage is dizzying. The ground is approaching fast, but with less than 1,000 feet left, one of them manages to deploy an emergency chute. They both survive, bruised but alive. Watching the footage feels like a deleted scene from Mission Impossible, except it's terrifyingly real. Number 7. The man who drove through fire and lived in 2017. Portugal was engulfed in one of the deadliest wildfires in its history. Dozens were trapped, and escape routes were closing fast. One man, caught in the blaze while driving, did the unthinkable. He turned on his dash cam and drove through the fire. The footage is apocalyptic. Flames lick the windshield, the sky is black, trees explode. It looks like a scene from Mad Max. But minutes later, the car breaks through to open road, and the man emerges from the inferno, shaken but alive. That clip? It's still used in firefighter training today. Number 6. The cyclist. Hit by lightning and survives. Imagine this. You're cycling through the countryside, no warning, no clouds, and then boom, a lightning bolt strikes you directly. That's what happened to a man in Brazil in 2018. Dashcam footage from a passing car shows the bolt hit his helmet. He falls instantly, and for a moment, everyone fears the worst. But seconds later, the man lifts his head and starts to move. His heart had briefly stopped, but by the time paramedics arrived, he was sitting up and talking. Doctors called it one of the most shocking and lucky survivals they'd ever seen. Number 5. The toddler who fell in a Chinese city in 2019. A 2-year-old girl somehow slipped from a high-rise apartment window. She fell 4 stories and was caught mid-air by a man who happened to be walking below and saw her falling. Security cam footage shows it all. The girl plunging from above, the man diving forward, catching her with both arms, and crashing to the ground. They both survived. Doctors called it a miracle, The city called the man a hero. The internet called it divine timing. Number 4. The construction worker buried alive. In Turkey, a construction worker was standing near a trench when the walls gave out. Tons of dirt collapsed on top of him. For over 6 minutes, co-workers dug frantically. Then, just as hope was fading, a hand emerged from the dirt, gasping for air. CCTV from the site captured the entire event. From the collapse to the moment he was pulled out, crying, muddy, and alive. Experts later said that in 99% of similar cases, people don't survive more than 3 minutes. This guy made it to 6. Number 3. The man who fell into a volcano and lived. Yes, you heard that right. In Hawaii, a tourist climbed over the safety rail to get a better selfie and fell 70 feet into the Kilauea volcano crater. Rescue crews expected the worst, but when they reached him, he was conscious, with only a few broken bones. Turns out, the lava had cooled enough in that spot to form a crust, and that thin layer saved his life. No joke. He climbed out of a volcano and lived to tell the story. Number 2. The pilot who landed with no engine. In Canada, a pilot flying a small glider realized mid-air that his engine had failed, and he was too far from any airstrip. His GoPro shows him calmly scanning for fields, and somehow, with no power, he glides down between power lines and trees and lands safely in an open field. No damage, no injuries. It was so smooth it looked like CGI, but aviation experts called it the perfect emergency landing. Number 1. The man who fell from space and survived. In 2012, Felix Baumgartner became the first human to skydive from the edge of space, 128,000 feet above Earth. He wore a pressurized suit, climbed to the stratosphere in a capsule, and jumped. At one point, he reached speeds of 843 miles per hour, breaking the sound barrier with just his body. The world watched live as he fell, spinning, twisting, until he stabilized and deployed his chute. He landed in the desert, knees buckling, arms raised in victory. If you ever doubted the limits of human survival, watch this. He jumped from space and walked away. These weren't just close calls. They were miracles, moments where logic said no, but life said not yet. Which one of these made your jaw drop the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you've ever survived something crazy, share your story below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more insane moments caught on camera. This is Absolute Facts, and we've got a lot more coming.